One, ready to go.
Hey, 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 this is Aura Walker from aurawalkerhypnotherapy.com, and I'm back on radiobuzz.com. Happy to be here. And today I'm going to be talking about staying grounded during times of chaos. So we're in Los Angeles here, and we've had these terrible, terrible fires. Today is the 11th of December 2017, and we've had these horrible fires, and I have felt from very early on that it had to be arsonists, because even though they were saying that it was the winds, the high Sierra winds, and that it was just the perfect conditions, it really wasn't that hot. It was like in the 80s. And sure enough, it was pretty windy, but these fires were popping up like mushrooms all over the place, and in surrounding areas around Los Angeles, not right in Los Angeles proper, but all around the surrounding areas. And some of the worst ones were in Ventura, Santa Barbara, and Ojai. And I actually have colleagues who lost homes there in Ojai. And so that's really disconcerting. And so the energy here has been one of just people feeling very unsettled and kind of attacked, I guess you would have to say. And a lot of my people who I know who are in the healing arts have been saying that this is a time of upheaval and chaos. So I'm very connected in the alternative healing community, and I know a lot of astrologers. Now, I take astrology with a grain of salt, and I've talked about astrology before, but they have all said that right now there's, all these planets in retrograde. There's a planet called Mercury that we pass by every 3 months, just about. And as we go by Mercury, which is a molten planet of molten steel, it messes with our computers, communication, just the energy shift that happens when the two planets go past each other. It's like two trains going past each other. So I'm trying to get here in the camera. It looks like two trains passing by each other, and it looks like we're going backwards, or that's the illusion that we're going backwards past Mercury, or Mercury's going backwards past us. And the way that when two trains pass each other, it looks like one's going backwards. And so that planetary pull affects a lot of our mechanical energies here on Earth. And so it can create just lots of chaos, and just the energy is very chaotic. Plus there's other planets that we were passing. And so all those magnetic poles are affecting us. We're just like specks of dust here. And so when all of that is happening, people tend to feel like they're being squashed or under a lot of pressure. And so today I'm going to be talking about that. And I had felt, like I said from the beginning, that this had to be arson, because I was like, these fires are just popping up too fast all over the place, and they can't keep up with them. And sure enough, they caught two arsonists. People were saying, no, it's the winds, and it's science, and it's global warming. But sure enough, they caught two arsonists. And so I also wanted to address a number of other subjects related to being grounded in times of chaos. And one is to check in with your intuition and to ask yourself, what do I feel is going on here? And just get quiet with yourself and ask yourself what you feel is going on. And so I felt that somebody was starting this. What's the motive? I don't know. I don't know what the motive is, because it's just so horrible. It's so destructive. People, working class, hardworking people are being affected the most, and they're being displaced. And so some of the conspiracy theories were that builders or developers were trying to push people out and redevelop these swaths of land and profit off of it, or that people were being pushed into the cities to kind of herd or corral them. I'm not going to feed into all of that. I don't know. I'm not going to go that far down the rabbit hole. I really don't know what a motive could be, but obviously it's people who are angry or who are off balance. And so it's just very, very tragic. And we've just been seeing the effects of these fires all over the place, not just with people losing their homes, but the air quality is really bad. And then people are losing their electricity also in certain townships. And so I had posted on Instagram that when the air quality is really bad, it's important to take green supplements like blue-green algae or chlorella, cracked chlorella, or to up your greens, your salad, anything green, your green smoothies, leafy greens. That green nutrition is going to create oxygen in your blood and help your blood to detox all those free radicals from the smoke. So that's something for anyone to know if they're around poor air quality, whether it's smoke from arson or fires, or just poor air quality in cities or other regions. So when we talk about the importance of grounding in times of chaos, I'm going to talk a little bit about grounding techniques. So I've been in the business of healing arts for going on 23 years here. Since 1995, straight out of grad school, I started working with children and families and counseling kids who are chronically ill, but in hospitals, but also working with adults in substance abuse recovery. And I've talked about how 25%, a quarter of the population, suffers from mental health disorders. And unfortunately, a large group of people who suffer from mental health disorders often, not always, but often end up homeless. And so pretty much everyone that you see that's homeless suffers from a mental health disorder. And so when we ground ourselves, and the techniques that I've used over the years with helping people to ground themselves to not feel so out of bounds or crazy or off the rails or chaotic or too much anxiety is, one, not everybody, but if you can, to eat properly and take care of yourself, to have proper nutrition, because food is very grounding, and to have enough protein in your system is going to keep your blood sugar level. And that is the first line of defense against an anxiety attack. So when your blood sugar drops is when you start to feel more anxious, no matter what, whether you suffer from anxiety or not. And there's different kinds of anxiety. There's existential anxiety, where you might feel anxious about something that hasn't even happened, or just big thoughts about the universe, or just being overwhelmed by everything that's happening. There's physical anxiety, where you actually feel it in your body. And that happens a lot with people who have high metabolisms and who are not eating properly, like athletes who are working out all the time, and they think that eating 3 meals is enough, and it's not. So what's really important is to eat small meals of protein throughout the day. And that doesn't have to be meat. It could be legumes like beans and rice, or lentils, even broccoli. Some of the more cruciferous vegetables are high in protein. And if you are not a vegan, of course, that would be animal source protein like eggs and meat, and dairy, which is a controversial topic today. But, it is a food source for people all over the world too. So I'm not going to rule that out. So food is very grounding, and that's important, is to take care of yourself and eat well. The other is to not be so caught up, excuse me, in your head. I am a trained hypnotherapist, and I also have a background in clinical psychology. And it was a path that sort of evolved for me over time. My undergrad is in liberal arts and fine arts. And then I thought, well, what can I do with a degree in fine arts? And I found out about the field of art therapy, which helps people to express themselves through the use of art media. And that is very grounding. It's very grounding to make art or to be creative, whether you're cooking, which is also a very creative process, or making something with your hands. So even just doodling or sketching can be very grounding and get yourself out of your head and overthinking. When I clear people and help them to ground, I do a number of techniques that I have developed over the years. But one of the things I do is I check out where their energy is and if it's evenly distributed in their body. Hey, Gary, thanks for joining. So I'm talking about grounding techniques in times of chaos. And when I check somebody out to see where their energy is throughout their body and how grounded they are, pretty commonly their energy in their head is pretty congested, and then in their feet, believe it or not, at either end of their bodies where the energy kind of gets the most congested. And then of course in the middle too, where all of the digestive system can get very congested. And so what I have people do is drop their energy from their head straight down to their feet and connect their feet to the floor, whether they're actually standing on the floor or they can imagine it, and that they can imagine sending that energy straight down from their head to their feet. And you might say, well, how do you do that? Well, you do that with your imagination. So your imagination is the tool to connect your inner self to your physical body, believe it or not. So your power of imagination is really, really strong, and it's a powerful tool, and we do not give it enough credit. So it's important to be mindful of your thoughts, because how your imagination runs, when you hear the phrase someone's imagination is running wild, well, what you think about is what you're driven towards. And if your imagination is constantly going towards things that are terrifying or dark or scary or fearful, then you're going to have that feeling constantly, and it's going to exacerbate a feeling of anxiety or feeling unsettled, especially during times of chaos. So I had started the show talking about the fires in Los Angeles and how it's affecting everybody and everyone feels unsettled. So it's really important to eat well and to feel grounded. And so that is dropping that excess energy from your head down to your feet. Just literally imagining that you're dropping a bowling ball straight down to your feet and into the earth, and just connecting to the earth. Because of gravity, we have the luxury of being able to walk on the surface of the earth and feeling connected to the earth. So it is kind of metaphysics that I'm talking about, but it also does help your feeling of feeling connected to the earth. And then also, when I speak about the power of imagination, it ties into choosing where to place your energy. So when we talk about grounding techniques, of course, you're manipulating your own energy, but as you get more how should I say, disciplined with where you put your energy, then besides your imagination, begin to choose exactly what you want to focus on. So your goals, right? It's important to have goals. It's important to have aspirations that you choose to move towards or put your energy towards. So like they say in business negotiation, you always shoot high, and if you land somewhere in the middle, then good. So you always want to have higher goals for yourself than what you normally would expect of yourself. Just shoot high anyway, because the higher that you shoot, you're going to accomplish more than you might have thought you would. And so when you choose where to put your energy, it's really important that you get clear about what your goals are and what you want to focus on each day. And so as you develop and you become more disciplined, and as you evolve in your own self-development, you're going to find that your energy is limited and that you only have time for things that are really important in your life and people who are really important. And so there is a place in society for gossip, but gossip is, it's like a whirling dervish. It doesn't really accomplish anything. So really the only function of gossip, if it's just mindless, is to blow off steam. That's really it. But, you know, gossip can also spread false truths about people, so it can be destructive. So gossip is really just silly and a waste of time, and it can also be very negative and destructive. And I'm just using that as an example because it is a non-constructive way of using energy. So even though people catch up and they kind of might gossip casually, you don't want to put a lot of time, for example, every day into gossiping, because it's really stirring energy needlessly that's going nowhere. It's not productive. And that's just one very specific example. So if you have personal goals, business goals, whatever the goals are, things that you want to achieve, it's important that you put your energy towards those things every single day. I always say if you get 5 things accomplished every day, even if one of those things is laundry, we have to accomplish the very mundane, banal, basic tasks in life, because that's all part of the big picture. You have to take care of yourself and your home and your well-being to be able to achieve bigger goals. And so if you take care of 5 major things in a day, then you should pat yourself in the back and know that you've gotten something done for yourself, for your own progress. And then I want to talk about maintaining faith and doing due diligence and one's own process for growth. It's really important to have faith. Hi, Cheng. Thanks for joining us. So I'm talking about different subjects today: self-care, grounding in times of chaos, grounding techniques, choosing where to place your energy, and maintaining faith and due diligence in your process for growth. So I have found in my life patterns that work and patterns that don't work. And I found that when things get really chaotic in society or around me, that it's important not only to ground and stay centered, but also to do my process, to do my work, to continue on my path, to just pursue the things that I'm interested in. And it's a numbers game. So if you pursue 10 interests, know that maybe if you're lucky, that even half pan out in the direction that you want, that's a good ratio. If you get to 50%, that's good. If you get 1 out of 10, that's fine too. It's just the more that you focus on towards the goals or the things that you want, the more likely you're going to achieve what you actually want to accomplish and achieve. And so to have faith, knowing that that's a recipe, that if you put your energy in the direction of what you want to get accomplished and what you want to achieve, that more than likely you're going to see that happen irregardless, because you're putting your energy towards making that happen. So I always clarify about the rhetoric around the law of attraction, because you cannot sit at home on a couch and simply just attract everything to you. It's BS, really. So what's really more appropriate when you talk about the law of attraction is what you are attracted to. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to accomplish? What are your dreams? And the thing is that, the whole pie in the sky thing of I want to be a multimillionaire, well, that is just great. You can be a multimillionaire if you want to try to do that. But instead of saying, I want to be a multimillionaire, start with feeling grateful about what you already have and working towards increasing what you want to see happen in your life and being happy with the very small things. And then what you see is you start getting bonuses in your life, and you start feeling like every good thing that happens is a bigger bonus. And that's how you start working towards the bigger accomplishments and the bigger goals and the bigger things that you want. And so when you just do your process for growth and you follow that recipe, literally, you just do your due diligence, you do your work every single day. You don't let things that set you back, setbacks, just topple you over and destroy you. Maybe you take a day to rest and regroup, and then you start over again. And you pay attention to where the energy is working and not working. So I've talked about this in other shows, where whether it's relationships or jobs or efforts that you're putting forth that it's not panning out the way that you want, just notice where it is panning out and where it is growing and what is working, and work with that and pay attention to that and make that grow and accelerate. So in the Chinese philosophy, they would call that going with the Tao, right? Going with the way that the river flows or the energy flows. So when you're being a leader as a martial artist, you're working with the energy flow that you notice is working. And sometimes, a lot of the time, that's trial and error. You have to try, and failure is a part of the recipe for success. It is a huge part of success. You have to be able to be comfortable with failure. And that is because, think of a child who's trying to walk. That child fell down 1,000 times before they learned how to walk. So falling down, failing is just a part of the process, and you have to know that in every single venture, especially in business. Many multimillionaires and successful historical leaders in the world One of the most famous is Henry Ford. And even though now we're moving towards clean energy vehicles, even I think actually he had developed a clean energy vehicle that ran on steam, which is really ironic. But he had failed a number of times, and he had actually filed bankruptcy a number of times, and he just kept going. He was obsessive about it. And Elon Musk is obsessive about, creating clean energy vehicles. So you have to get obsessed with something good in your life. People who are obsessed with things that are not good or meaningless, that's a real sign of discord and extreme mental illness, which can become like almost demonic, and I've questioned, what is that energy? What is demonic energy? And demonic energy is the void of light. It's the void of anything good or productive is demonic energy. It's not an actual individual that, like the devil is just a metaphor, but demonic energy is that absence of goodness and light. And so to continue on your purpose with goodness and light, and to believe in yourself, and to believe that your goals uphold a feeling of prosperity or a generating of good energy out in the world is going to help you. And so when you feel like you're losing interest in something that you thought, oh, maybe this was a good idea, like myself as a business owner, I have tried hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of options for my own business to make my business grow. And some of it's panned out and some of it hasn't. And, I look back, and sometimes it's frustrating. It's really frustrating to go, yeah, I tried this. I spent a lot of money on this. But I also nipped it in the bud. Like the minute that it wasn't really working, I just kind of pushed myself in another direction, regrouped and restructured. And you have to keep doing that. You have to keep doing that in your life and in your business so that you can prosper and grow and be successful. And so we started talking about the LA fires and the arson, eating really well, eating lots of greens, taking care of yourself, and then checking in with your intuition on self-care and asking yourself what's really going on and what you need. The importance of grounding, dropping your energy from your head into your feet, connecting to the ground so that you can feel centered and useful and not chaotic when everything is swirling and chaotic around you. And then choosing where to place your energy, really getting focused about what goals you're going to achieve every single day, whether they're small or large. Maintaining faith that as you do your due diligence, that you are going to prosper and grow. So that's my message for you this week. And thank you for watching here on RadioBuzz.com. My show will air every day at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, RadioBuzz.com. Peace out, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you.